Hey guys, On The Game here, back in another video, and I'm going to be doing a collection video for you guys. And today, I've got another pretty big one. Today, I'm going to be showing off my Dynasty Warriors / Musou game collection. Basically, Musou being like the genre of these games, pretty much. Warriors games, however you want to call them. They go by many different names. But essentially, the 1 versus 100 hack and slash type games, like, you know what I mean. That started with Dynasty Warriors and eventually led to things like Samurai Warriors, Hyrule Warriors, and various spin-offs based on like One Piece and just, you know, there's a million of these games out there. Musou games is kind of like a Marmite sort of genre. Like, you either really love it or you hate it. And, you know, I get the reasons why people don't like it, but I fuck with it personally, man. I mean, especially with Dynasty Warriors, I've been a big fan for a long time, actually. There's just something just addictive about these games. Yeah, they're monotonous. Yeah, it's essentially just mashing the same button over and over. But they're just fun. Just, I don't know, man. I like them. As repetitive as they are, I really like them. So yeah, so this is my collection of Dynasty Warriors games. It isn't a whole lot. Like I mentioned earlier, there is literally, probably if you want to include like mobile games and stuff, there's literally probably hundreds of these games out there. So yeah, I have far from everything. Not even all the Dynasty Warriors. But I've got a decent amount, you know. As you can see here, and a few spin-offs. I would like to get a few more. Definitely not going for a full set or anything, but you know, it's a franchise I really like, and I would like to get more for it at some point. But yeah, so with that being said, I guess let's just get straight into actually. It's gonna be an updated look at my Dynasty Warriors game collection. I did already show off my Dynasty Warriors games a few years back, but now it's time for an update since, of course, the collection's gotten bigger since then. Yeah, without further ado, let's begin. There isn't really a whole lot to say about each individual game just on its own, because for the most part, they're kind of the same thing. Like, if you played one Dynasty Warriors, you basically play them all. But I'll tell you, like, whether or not, like, I like them, you know, if I don't like them, you know, stuff like that. Starting things off, we have the one that started all, the very first Dynasty Warriors for the PS1. What a lot of people may not know is that the very first Dynasty Warriors was actually a one-on-one fighter. Yeah, as you can see from the screenshots there. Yeah, it was a fighting game, similar to like Tekken or something. Very different to like what the later games would be. Of course, you still play as like the same characters, the same like, you know, historical figures from the Three Kingdoms period of ancient China. But yeah, the very first game in the series was a weapon-based fighting game. And it was a decent one. Obviously far from the best, but oh my days, this case really needs replacing. Look at this. Jeez, man. These PS1 cases are fragile as hell. But yeah, got the manual there, chunky as hell, and the disc. So yeah, a lot of people don't know that the first Dynasty Warriors was a fighting game. But yeah, it was. I'm surprised they haven't like gone back to this concept. Actually, I'd love to see like a new Dynasty Warriors fighting game, like a new take on the concept. Because it's only this one. Like, all the others would be like hack and slash games. You know, this is the only one that's a fighting game. They never like went back to this idea, which I find kind of strange. Because I think a new Dynasty Warriors fighting game would be pretty sick nowadays. All right, the next we have an absolute classic right here, Dynasty Warriors 2. This was a launch game for the PS2 back in 2000, and was basically the game that put the series on the map. You know, this is what made Dynasty Warriors like a big thing in the first place. And this was when the series officially became the hack and slash game that we all know it as today. And yeah, and this game was essentially like a showcase what the PS2 was capable of at the time. Like seeing all like the enemies on screen and stuff. And the game ran at pretty much like solid 60 FPS. I mean, it was a technical showcase for sure. But yeah, this is a classic in my opinion. Yeah, I still love this game even now, even though like it's very basic compared to the later ones. Dynasty Warriors 2, I'll be honest, I go back to this one a hell of a lot more than I do the later ones. Just, I don't know, there's something about like the early PS2 Dynasty Warriors games that I just like a hell of a lot more than the newer ones. I don't quite know what it is, but I just find these a lot more fun. I find that the soundtracks are a lot better. You know, the soundtrack in this game especially is fucking amazing. And then next we have my favorite in the series, Dynasty Warriors 3. Yeah, I mean, this game took everything that made Dynasty Warriors 2 great and just improved upon it. And yeah, in my opinion, hands down the best in the series. This is like, yeah, one of my favorite PS2 games, actually. I love this game so much, I actually brought the Xbox version as well. Yeah, this was the first Dynasty Warriors to be multi-platform. And yeah, it also came out on the original Xbox. And I've got that version as well. So yeah, it's complete as well. And then we have the first of many, and I do mean many, expansions. So you've got the mainline Dynasty Wars game, but the main numbered ones. You of course got your spin-offs based on like different properties and whatnot. But then also, you have the expansion games, specifically Extreme Legends and Empires, which are basically like expansions to the base games where they like add new content and, you know, like stuff of that nature. And the very first one of these was Dynasty Wars 3 Extreme Legends. So yeah, this game essentially just adds like a, you know, it says right there, you know, you've got new weapons, new items, new difficulty level. So yeah, just basically just expands the original game. Adds new characters as well, I think. And they did a ton of these, man. There's literally like an expansion, at least one, for every mainline game from 3, well, until the present day, pretty much. Like, it's actually crazy. Alright, then next we have Dynasty Wars 4. This one, I'm going to be honest, I didn't like as much as 3. I don't know what it was, because a lot of people really like 4. In fact, I've heard a lot of people say that 4 is actually the best in the series. I don't know. I mean, to be fair, it has been a long time since I last played it, so my opinion could change if I replay it now. Yeah, I just remember not liking this one as much as 3. I'm just not entirely sure why. But it's still a good game, still had fun with it. I also have it for the original Xbox as well. I got this one fairly recently. I haven't actually even played this version yet, but yeah, I got the Xbox version just because. And yeah, it's complete. And then we have the 4 expansions. So there's 2 actually for Dynasty Wars 4. So the first one here is Dynasty Wars 4 Empires. So basically the Empires games adds like strategic elements to the game. Like, yeah, basically like you manage like officers and stuff. And the core gameplay is still there. You still got the hack and slash gameplay. But, you know, there's some elements of like a, you know, like a real-time strategy game in there. Yeah, it just is a more strategic version of what would otherwise be just a generic hack and slash. But, yeah, there it is. I haven't really gotten like into the Empires games. I much prefer just like the base, you know, just Dynasty Warriors, just, you know, just traditional hack and slash. I don't really care for the strategy stuff as much. But, you know, I love the PS2 era Dynasty Wars games so much, I figured that I might as well get all the expansions. And here's the other expansion for Dynasty Wars 4 Extreme Legends, which again, just adds new stuff, you know, new extreme mode, new legend mode, new arena challenge. So yeah, just an expansion pack, you know. Or what we would call now a DLC. Then we have the first, like, was this the first handheld Dynasty Warriors? I think it was, or one of the first at least. Dynasty Warriors for the PSP. So, yeah, this is just called Dynasty Warriors. There's no number or anything, no subtitle. It's literally just called Dynasty Warriors. And no, it's not a port of the first Dynasty Warriors. It's actually its own original game, made specifically for the PSP. I think it's mostly based on Dynasty Wars 4, but it is actually its own game. Completely separate. But, yeah, it's a pretty good one, actually, if I remember. And there's also a sequel to this as well, Dynasty Warriors Volume 2, I think it's called, for the PSP. There's also a Dynasty Wars game on the DS, and there's even one for the Game Boy Advance, which is like a 2D, like a top-down view type game, I think. Yeah, I'd like to get those at some point. Alright, and then we have Dynasty Wars 5, which this one I liked a whole lot more than 4. I couldn't tell you specifically why, I just remember just enjoying this a lot more than 4. And in my opinion, honestly, I think this was the last really good Dynasty Warriors game. I feel like after this, the series started getting stale and really repetitive. Just, yeah, I mean, just in my opinion, I think this was the last one that was actually, like, really good. The rest from here on out are all just, like, all right or just mediocre. I'm just being honest. I do also want to get the original Xbox version of this. I don't have it currently, but I plan on getting that at some point. And of course, once again, we have the expansion games for Dynasty Wars 5. So here we have Dynasty Wars 5 Empires, which again, just adds just strategy elements to the game. So yeah, I got this one really recently, actually. Yeah, because I wanted to go for the full set of all the PS2 Dynasty Wars spin-offs. I mean, expansions. And yeah, I just got this one like really recently. And then the other one is, of course, Dynasty Wars 5 Extreme Legend. This is actually the last of the Dynasty Warriors expansion games I have. You know, there is more, of course, after this, but to be honest, I can't be asked to get every single one of them. So this is the last one I have. So yeah, again, new modes, new difficulty, you know, just, you know the gist by now. Just new content and whatnot. I've got the 360 version of Dynasty Wars 5 Empires as well, which for some reason my copy is in French. No idea why. I mean, the game still plays in English, but yeah, it's the 360 version. Then we have Dynasty Warriors 6. Probably the worst in the series, if I'm being honest. I don't like this game at all, man. It's not just me, you know. A lot of Dynasty Warriors fans don't like 6. It's just, yeah, it's the worst mainline game in my opinion. But it has been a long time since I last played it, so I might potentially revisit this one as well. But yeah, but this one I just didn't like. And then we have Dynasty Warriors 7, which is just kind of more the same. I remember this one just being like really boring. I remember literally like only 30 seconds of this game and that's it, you know. I remember playing this and just thinking to myself, this game adds nothing new. Like, this is literally like probably the most stale entry in the series, at least in my opinion. Yeah, this just felt like just the same old, you know. It wasn't anything like special to this game compared to all the previous ones. Yeah, this game was just stale as hell, I'm gonna be honest. Last one for the 360, at least Dynasty Warriors, is Dynasty Warriors 8. This one I actually really enjoyed. Yeah, surprisingly, despite not liking 6 and 7 at all, 8 I actually really enjoyed. I just remember this one being like quite fast paced and yeah, just enjoying this one a hell of a lot more than the others. And yeah, and the last mainline Dynasty Warriors game I have is Dynasty Warriors 9, which this is the one that was pretty much broken when it first released. You know, this is the one where they tried introducing the open world, and ultimately, like, when this game released, it was just clearly rushed to release. You know, it just had like a whole bunch of issues, and the open world was extremely like just bare bones. Like, there was really nothing to it. You know, I mean, it was a cool idea on paper. You know, an open world Dynasty Warriors. It sounded really great, but the execution just wasn't it, Chief. You know, it just wasn't it. But I played this fairly recently. It's okay, not as good as 9, but you know, it's just all right. Last but not least, we have the spin-offs. I don't have too many of these, so I'll try to be fairly quick. So let's start things off. Here I got the very first Samurai Warriors for the PS2. This is the only Samurai Warriors game I have. I think there's about 6 mainline games, if you want to count 4-2. And also Samurai Warriors, just like with Dynasty Warriors, also has its own like Extreme Legends and Empires games. Yeah, there's just so many of these fucking games. It's actually ridiculous. But yeah, the only Samurai Warriors I've got is just the first one. Which I really enjoyed. Samurai Warriors is basically just, well, as the name would suggest, Dynasty Warriors, but it takes place in the Samurai period, specifically the, I think it's Sengoku period of Japan, like 15th century, something like that. So yeah, but the gameplay is still the same, just basically a new setting, pretty much. And then also as well, I also have the Japanese version of Samurai Warriors, which is called Sengoku Musou. Now, the only reason why I have this is, no joke, I brought this on eBay like years ago for 1p, for 1 penny. I am not kidding. I literally 1p free postage on eBay. That's the only reason why I have this game. Essentially the equivalent of 1 cent in America. Like, literally, I got this game for literally 1 penny. So yeah, that's the only reason why I have it. And then this is probably the most well-known of the Warriors spin-off games, Hyrule Warriors for the Wii U. This is the very first one. This is, of course, the crossover with Legend of Zelda. Now Hyrule Warriors is spun off into its own series. You know, I mean, there's a new one coming out for the Switch too, like the end of this year, I think. And this is a pretty decent one, especially if you're like a big Zelda fan. And yeah, and of course, just like with every other Wii U game, pretty much, is also on the Switch as well, with the Definitive Edition. You know, there's also a sequel as well on the Switch, which I can't even remember. What was it called again? Like Calamity of something, I don't know. But yeah, Hyrule Warriors is a, you know, quirky little game. Alright, and I've also got the 3DS version, Hyrule Warriors Legends, which is a significantly scaled-back version of Hyrule Warriors. I remember this one runs like absolute shit if you play it on a base 3DS. Yeah, the performance of it is terrible, but I mean, it's portable Hyrule Warriors, well, before the Definitive Edition, but yeah, I mean, it's a neat novelty to have, but there's no reason to go back to this now, especially with the Switch version, you know, being a thing. All right, then we have the Warriors Orochi games, which there are 4 of these. I've only got just 2. So I've got the first Warriors Orochi on the Xbox 360. Warriors Orochi is basically a crossover between Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors. So you get to play as characters from both series into one game. And yeah, so it's kind of like the Smash Bros of the series, in a way. So yeah, it's pretty cool, actually. And yeah, there it is. And then the last one I've got is Warriors of Orochi 4. I do not have 2 and 3. I really want to get those two, but yeah, I just don't have them currently. But I do have the 4th one. I've got it for Nintendo Switch, actually. It's basically just more of the same, pretty much. Again, just Samurai Warriors and Dynasty Warriors characters in one game. And yeah, there's also, I believe, Warriors of Orochi 4 Ultimate. And yeah, like even like the Warriors of Orochi and stuff has its own like expansions. It's ridiculous. Like I said, it's ridiculous. And they're all made like by the same studio. Omega Force, right there. They're the ones behind the series, and yeah, they literally make like every single one of them, including all the spin-offs and expansions. Like, it's ridiculous. They all come from the same bloody studio. But yeah, so there you have it. That's my Dynasty Warriors game collection. Like I said, I'm missing quite a lot. I don't have the newest Dynasty Warriors game, Origins, which came out back in January. I plan on getting that at some point when I do get a PS5. That'll be one of the first games I get for it, because that's only on like PS5 and Series X. Like I said, I really want to get Warriors of Orochi 2 and 3, and I also want to get Dynasty Warriors 5 on the original Xbox, and yeah, just a few others. But like I said, I'm in no means going for a full set of this entire series or anything, because that would be absolutely insane to do. But yeah, but still, with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments what's your favourite Dynasty Warriors game. So with all that being said, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like and maybe consider subscribing. And I shall see you guys in my next video. Until then, take care now.